Maybe we've started to find the story of Chang'e more and more boring. It's just about a woman who has a bad relationship with her husband, takes something from him, and then flies to the moon. This story tells of a woman's self awakening, but after she becomes independent, she ends up lonely. This represents the heart of a woman, but everyone has a heart. So, does that mean each of us has this kind of quality within ourselves? On the eve of the Mid Autumn Festival, let's talk about this Tai star, which represents the moon. Hello, everyone. Happy Mid Autumn Festival. After the Ghost Festival, the next one is the Mid Autumn Festival. So, what do people in Taiwan do for Mid Autumn? We have barbecues, right? Ever since a certain soy sauce brand started running those ads for decades during the Mid Autumn Festival in Taiwan, everyone would go out and have barbecues. But honestly, in recent years, have you noticed a few things? First, people are less enthusiastic about it, and second, not as many people are actually barbecuing anymore. Some even discuss the story of Chang'e less and less. I remember when I was a kid during the Mid-Autumn Festival, whether it was on the streets, in schools, or with family, everyone would still talk about the story of Chang'e. As society changes, maybe we've started to find the story of Chang'e more and more boring. It's just about a woman who didn't have a good relationship with her husband, took something from him, and then flew to the moon, where she stayed for thousands of years raising a little rabbit. I still can't remember where the little rabbit's idol comes from. I still remember. Did she bring the rabbit up there, or was it already on the moon? If anyone online knows, please leave a comment and let me know where the little rabbit came from. But anyway, it's actually a pretty simple story, and it tells about a woman who is self-sufficient, but after becoming self-sufficient, then what? She ends up feeling lonely again. In an era when women are under pressure, this story expresses a woman's desire to find herself, but at the same time, it also conveys usually, when you want to find yourself, you often have to leave your family and the reality of your situation. When we have a family, we inevitably have to make sacrifices for them. You can't always expect the other person to give to you while you're unwilling to give anything in return. In the Zuozhuan, there is a passage that specifically talks about the moon. All of its references represent the ancient people's views on the moon. And what were the ancient people's views on the moon? In fact, they were the ancient people's views on women. You could even say that. This reflects the ancient people's view of the family. Everyone would think that there must be a woman in the household. Without a woman, it cannot be complete. In the Zuozhuan, the Taiyin star represents the moon, and at the same time, it is almost the embodiment of all. All the qualities and characteristics we project onto the role of women and femininity. All of these are centered on the core of the Taiyin star. On the eve of the Mid-Autumn Festival, let's talk about this Taiyin star that represents the moon, this star that symbolizes femininity. Since everyone has this star, does that mean each of us possesses these qualities within ourselves? If we place it in our own workspace, how would we express it? Beyond the surface level lessons that we see. So, what other qualities does it have that can't be easily discovered? We just mentioned the Taiyin star. It's regarded as the ruler of property and residence, meaning it's seen as the representative of the family. In fact, we often say that among the 10 major attributes in Zi Wei Doshu, each one tends to represent a certain aspect of your inner self. So, as we've mentioned, Wuku represents the practical side. Ziwei star stands for your self-esteem, while Taiyin star represents your views and feelings about family, as well as the role you wish to play within a family. So each star actually comes with a role for you to play, and when you embody that star, it influences what you do. Therefore, the Taiyin star is all about how you take on the role of protecting and caring for a family. That's why rebelliousness is often seen as a mother's need. Since ancient times, society has been matriarchal, and even in tribal societies, this still holds true, because the harsher the environment, the more important these feminine qualities become. So, women become more important. Compared to men, women are often more stable. Why? Because men go hunting, fight wars, and if they die, someone must stay to care for the children. A woman, for example, could outlive 8 husbands, but she would still raise all 8 children. So, under these circumstances, of course, people would think that if there isn't a woman in the household, then it doesn't really count as a family, because only she is truly guarding and protecting the home. That's why, from childhood to adulthood, we've always projected this kind of expectation onto women. And we also have these kinds of expectations. In addition, modern science has already proven that women, both physiologically and psychologically, are indeed more capable than men when it comes to enduring pain and stress. All of these views are encompassed within the concept of the imperial physician's heart. So, judgment is interpreted as being able to enjoy life, and then being attentive, considerate, filial, and caring for the family. However, at the same time, this attentiveness is often overanalyzed. It could mean overthinking things, being overly meticulous, or taking care of the family to an excessive degree, which might make him seem uptight or rigid, and in the end, he finally learns to enjoy life. Oh, and perhaps he might not be as ambitious in his career because he values good food and comfortable living and places importance on appearances to the outside world. So here I need to explain to everyone that each star actually has its own characteristics, and when these traits are taken to the extreme, they can also have another, possibly negative meaning. From this perspective, you can understand how these qualities are applied to women as a whole, right? To serve as a representation, as we just mentioned, everyone has Pan Yixin. Even if it's not in your life palace and you don't have such obvious traits, you might still possess these qualities in other palaces. Now, coming back to the topic, why is rebelliousness also considered a wealth star? All right, think about it. If you want to live well, take care of your family, and protect your loved ones, don't you need resources? That's why the underlying reason for setting up the wealth star is just like this. If you place it in the life palace or the travel palace, and then if you place it in the front flash, these all indicate that in that particular palace, for example, if I look at the spouse palace, you might hope for a partner with such qualities, or in terms of emotions, you would be willing to give so much for the other person to play such a role, right? In the property palace, it shows how you treat your family, or in the children palace, how you treat your kids. In the wealth palace, you hope to make money and also take care of those around you. In the travel palace, you display all kinds of attentive attitudes to care for the people around you. That's why I categorize Tan Lang as a peach blossom type. Because think about it, how could someone like this not be likable, right? Of course, in the official palace, it also indicates that you will use this kind of attitude to take care of your colleagues at work. In the Friends Palace, you play this kind of role among your friends as well. Hmm. In the Fortune Palace, it means that spiritually, you hope to become this kind of person. That is, you may appear to be very easygoing, but your thoughts are actually very sharp. Or you might originally be someone who doesn't care about money. You might not be that close to your family, but deep down, you actually hope your family can be by your side. In the 12 palaces of life, you will have these kinds of expressions and needs in each one. Let's take a look, since the company manages the 12 palaces, that is. So, for people with this star in their life palace, of course, you will naturally reflect this tendency in all 12 palaces. You'll want to approach things in this way. So now we understand that the greedy wolf star starts off as this kind of special envoy, and then in each palace, it represents this meaning. However, since this is a Mid-Autumn Festival special, let's talk a bit more about whether people who judge the stars will be like the party, dividing things up over a long period of time. For a long time, everyone has thought of the Sun star as a disaster star because it is filial. But in fact, the Moon star also has its dark side. The Moon star also has aspects that make you feel uncomfortable. I remember seeing a picture last time. It was like when your mum is being your mum, she's just like a velociraptor. Okay, but when your mum becomes a grandma, the way she treats your son is like that toy in Toy Story, the toy velociraptor that's too soft hearted. When does this kind of thing happen? When the moon star is in a fallen or afflicted position. So, when does the moon star fall? When it's placed in certain positions, it keeps falling. What does that mean? It usually indicates that it doesn't want to follow the rules of the world so strictly. In other words, this moon doesn't intend to follow the celestial filter. It hopes to have some different changes. So usually, if we talk about it in the news, we would say it's not a full moon, it's a waxing or waning moon, or it's covered by clouds. Right now, you don't want to simply just take care of others. Instead, you're willing to do something different. At different times, it will make some changes. So, what about these different things and changes? If you add in an inauspicious star, it often turns its attentiveness into nitpicking and often turns its thoughtfulness toward others. It turns into excessive attentiveness. If this excessive attentiveness is placed in the context of a couple's shared life, it might lead to being overly considerate, even to people who shouldn't be the focus of such care. This kind of situation can arise. We talk about the Mid Autumn Festival, so at this time, we especially feel that the body is complete, that everything is beautiful. Therefore, at this moment, we feel that the family should gather together. For those with a strong Tai yin moon nature, if their chart shows the moon encountering malefic stars or being in a weak position when we can't see the moon, it indicates that there is an emptiness inside, a sense of incompleteness. Because of this, they seek better solutions within established frameworks. This is also why the ancients often felt that the Tai yin moon should not be in a weak position. And then, ancient texts will tell you that if a woman with a strong tie-in also has malefic influences and tends to judge others by her own standards, she may become more promiscuous, and this is how she is perceived. but in reality, it's because when the rules in her heart are satisfied, she hopes for more opportunities to break through and go beyond them. Ah, so that's why she does these things. This is also why there's a very important secret about desire in Zi Wei Shu. When the star of desire falls into the palace of attraction, or the palace of wealth, within that major period, if your tie-in encounters a third level influence, Feng Lu Xuan Ke, that means making a fortune. Why? Because when a person possesses all these qualities like being charming, attentive, caring about others, and intelligent, and on top of that, is able to break through obstacles. So, isn't it easy for them to make money? Sometimes, with this kind of combination, like we often say in metaphysics, you need to look at the overall picture. With this combination, you'll find that, hey, it actually turns out to be a very good thing. In other words, what we're saying is that in life, actually, a lot of people are like this. When you haven't experienced warmth in your own family, you'll hope to give your children a wonderful home in the future. When you feel that your family can't provide you with support, you may actually work even harder than others and achieve success because of it. When your family can give you abundant love, you then have the ability to love others. This is what we often tell everyone. You should cherish the happiness you have right now. You should pass on this love and courage to others. Likewise, any shortcomings or disappointments you experience at the moment don't necessarily mean it's a bad time in your life. Maybe that's the day you're meant to be someone else's healer, to take care of others, or for those who are even more capable, to go and create your own future. Just like we often say, the palace of genius is your home. The children palace, that's your future family. So if things aren't enough now, that's just how it is for the time being. You can do even better in the future. What do I hope for? I hope that everyone during the Mid-Autumn Festival can reunite with their families. But if, because of work or many other reasons, you can't, even in such prosperous times, you might still find yourself alone. Like me, it's just my son and I, the two of us. You don't need to feel sad about it. Life can't always be perfect. Just like the moon, it can't be full and round all the time, everywhere in the world. But there is always a sense of fulfillment to be found. With that, I wish everyone a happy Mid-Autumn Festival.